Chapter 18. Nate. Here he is, back from the States. I look up from my desk and see Brian peering at between the forest of plants. He's wearing a green corduroy's Aroy shirt, and his unruly hair is springing out of the top of his head. It somehow looks wilder than it did the last I saw him. "Hey, Brian," I say. "Sorry for taking off like that." He waves his hands at me. "It's all good." "Is everything okay now?" An image of Mom and Dad flits into my mind, waving me from the front door as I climbed into my taxi to go back to the airport. Mom was leaning into Dad's shoulder, beamier at me, looking exactly as she always does. Just like nothing had happened at all. "Yeah," I say, after a beat. "All fine, thanks, good." Brian cries, slapping his hands together and making me jump. "I need to speak to you about stories." He walks around to my desk and takes the spare chate, plonking himself down and using his feet to drag himself towards me. I feel myself brighten. Finally, I'll be able to experience London properly if I'm being sent on actual experry. Moss for work. Great, I say. I can be flexible with days. I used to work weekends quite a bit in New York. Weekends? Brian scrunches up his face in confusion. "Yeah, if any of the events are on a Saturday, or no, not them," Brian says dismissively. "All those events are taken by the rest of the team." Oh, my face falls. "Well, what do you want me to write about then?" "You tell me." He rests his elbows on his knees and looks at me, expectantly. Damn. After our first conversation, I was really hoping he'd forgotten about this wild idea that, as a writer, I should just be able to think of brilliant stories on the spot. He wasn't expecting to, ... "Let me brainstorm and get back to you," I say. "No need," Brian says at once. "Let's just brainstorm some ideas now." I try to stop the alarm from showing on my face. It's like a 6-word horror story. Let's just brainstorm some ideas now. "Right," I say, realizing that he's waiting for me to say something. "Sure." I glance around as Helen from HR swans past, desperately hoping that she will distract Brian in some way and save me. One thing I've already noticed about Brian is that he is a professional procrastinator. He spends all of his time flitting from one desk to the next, wanting to chat about nothing in particular. I've yet to see him open his laptop, let alone sit at his desk. "I'm looking for something fresh and fun," Brian says, leaning back in his seat. "So, what do you got?" I blink at him. I cannot think of a single fresh or fun thing. "Well," I say, as the thought drops into my mind, "I'm going to my first football game next weekend with my friend Remy. I could write about that. My first sporting experience as a New Yorker in England." Brian pulls a face. "Who's playing Chelsea?" I begin, already knowing where this is going. "Versus Man City." Fuck no. Nobody wants to read about that. I press my lips together, fighting the urge to question whether he'd be more excited if I said it was a Tottenham game. "What else? What did you do at the weekend? Tell me about that." I think of Dad's face when he picked me up from the airport. Mom's reassuring smile as she helped me find clothes to wear from my childhood bedroom. My chest spasms. "I went to a party," I say. Brian snaps his fingers. "Okay, a party. What else? What do you mean? Isn't a party enough?" "What happened at the party? Tell me about it." I push my fingers through my hair. I'd rather it not be a story about my life, I say. I usually review events. "We're just spitballing," Brian says, holding his hands up in his hanty. "I'm just trying to get the ball rolling." "Tell me." "About this party," I sigh. "Fine. It was a masquerade ball for Halloween, lunching a big perfume. Fancy. Hey, Helen." Brian waves his arm at Helen, who is walking past again, and beckons her over. "Nate went to a tull last weekend." Helen raises her eyebrows at me. "Get you. So, what did you dress up as?" Brian asks. "I didn't. I say I just wore a mask and a suit." "You didn't dress up?" Brian repeats. "On Halloween, some people did," I say. "There was one girl dressed as a bat." As soon as I say it, the image of her pops into my head. Her dark, shimmering eyes and that big laugh. I saw that Brian grins, turning to Helen. "Did you see that?" I frown as, to my annoyance, Brian has started giggling. "Saw what? That look? Tell us about the Batgirl, then." "There's nothing to tell. Honestly, this man is like a child. He's going red," Brian chides. "Go on, tell us that. A drink with her. And it was nice. And nothing," I cried, trying my very best not to explode at him as I turned back to my laptop. I had to leave. I didn't get her number or her name. It was a 10-minute conversation, if that. It was nothing. Silence falls across the office, and I click through my emails, hoping to signal that the conversation is over. When I glance up, I spot Helen and Brian beaming at me smugly. "What?" I snap. "There's the story." Brian says triumphantly, slapping his knees and getting to his feet. There's no story, I say, bewildered. Nothing happened. Oh, Kayla says, excitedly turning to Brian. We could do like a "Are You My Cinderella?" type story. We could include Nate's picture and try and find her. Brian clicks his fingers into two guns towards Helen. Love it. Let's do it. Do I not have any say in this? I say indignantly. Not unless you can come up with a better idea, Brian grins, sauntering over to the finance department. Brian, Nate, relax, he calls, picking up a ping-pong bat and twirling it in his fingers. What's the worst that can happen? Gary, take a nice picture of Nate, will you? And let's stick it on the socials and see what happens. Have you seen this man? Tall, dark, and handsome. Nate Simpson is our New York heartthrob, trying to find his Miss Right. Were you at a masquerade ball on Saturday 31st, October? Did you have a drink with Nate? If so, we want to hear from you. ... Why have they made it sound like you're a convict on the run? Ipple two beers out of the fridge and hand one to Stevie, flopping down onto the sofa and groaning. The rest of my day was an absolute nightmare. Everyone in the office was so excited at playing the role of matchmaker that they all abandoned their laptops to help choose the best photo of me and write my dating bio before plague-tearing it all over social media. We spent the entire afternoon watching to see if any woman came forward who might be Batgirl. Spoiler, nobody did. No, I say, and they're supposed to be writers. They all thought it was great. Do you think she'll see it? I really hope not. Stevie laughs, scrolling through the article on his phone. What would you rather? 100 girls get in touch that you have to date with your boss in the corner, or nobody messaging at all? Nobody, I say at once. I want Brian as far away from my love life as possible. But what will you write about? Don't you have to, write something to be a writer? I give him a warning look. You're not allowed to say that. That's blasphemy to writers. Stevie grins and sips on his beer. The football has been lightly yelling at us from the television for the past 30 minutes. I realized if I was going to spend my Saturday with Remy going to an actual football game, then maybe I should watch a game to try and understand the rules. I said this in passing to Stevie, which led to a full lecture on football culture and how important it was that I cheered for the right team, depending on where I was sat. Also, from the way that Remy invited me, I gathered that giving me his spare season ticket was like handing me the golden keys to the palace, so I needed to treat it with respect. I've also decided I'll go to Aunt Tell's on Sunday. Do you know what's going on? I say to Stevie, pointing at the screen with my beer. Yeah, of course, Stevie nods. I understand football. I just don't like it. That's Marcus Rashford. He gestures towards a black man in a purple kit. Everyone knows who he is. He's a national treasure. Marcus Rashford, I repeat, resisting the urge to write the name down so I can revise later. How's Mom? I look round, slightly surprised. Stevie is still staring at the TV, but I notice a slight change in his expression. She's good, I say. I think I'm going to try and call her this evening if you're around. He shakes his head. To leave you to it, I think I'm going. Out later. Shock. Where are you going, I think? Stevie says, pulling his phone out of his pocket and opening an app. I'm going on a date. He turns the screen and shows me a man with long dark hair and an eyebrow ring. Nice. I look down at my phone. It hasn't made a sound. Since Mom rang me yesterday, apart from one text from Remy sending me a video of a man accidentally falling into a swimming pool. Till stay with you until the end of the game, though, he says, grinning at me. I need to make sure you don't get beaten up on Saturday. Troll my eyes. It won't be that bad. No, he says, putting his phone away. It's fun, apparently. My stomach lurches as I spot an email from Brian popping up on my phone titled, I think LV found her. Oh God, ... I mutter, showing Stevie my phone. Before I can stop him, he grabs it out of my hand. Give it back. How do you know my password? You've had the same password since you were 11, Stevie says, turning his body around on the sofa to face me. Don't send anything back. That's my boss. Oh, wow. Stevie lets out a long whistle. I groan. What? What's he sent? I think this is the short list. 40 women have replied. 40. I nearly drop my beer. Despite myself, my heart lifts slightly. What if she's there? What if it really is going to be that easy, and they've sent their phone numbers? Right. He pulls his long legs up to his chest. You're going to pick 1 and 8-0 on a date tonight. We can do a double date. It'll be fun. No. If you don't pick, I'm going to pick for you. Fuck off. So, what did this girl look like? He says, narrowing his eye as he scrolls freely through my phone. I'll whittle it down. Against my forehead? Do we have to do this? I don't know. I push my thumb and forefinger. Yes. What was her ethnicity? White, hair color, dark, long or short hair? Long. Right, he swigs his beer. That narrows it down. You have 15 women to pick from. How old do you think she was? Was she older than 60? No, okay. That takes out you and you. I need another beer. I go to get up when the TV erupts and the screen is filled with Marcus Rashford, his arms in the air towards the crowd and his teammates leaping on his back, jostling him with animalistic joy. I told you he was good, Stevie says knowingly. I give him a shove as I take his empty beer and walk towards the fridge. Do you want to pick her or shall I? Stevie calls after me. Oh, she looks nice. I think she's my favorite. Well, let me look, I say, kicking the fridge door shut and grabbing the bottle opener. She may actually be there. You are into this, Stevie says triumphantly. God, you are such a romantic, it's sickening. I hand him a beer as he turns the phone to me. Contestant number 1, Jane. I study the picture. It's a woman who looks roughly the same age as me, with curly hair and lots of eyeliner. That's not her, I say. She could have straightened it. She didn't have curly hair. Troll my eyes. Fine. Contestant number 2, Haley. He turns the phone towards me again and I swat it away. Stevie, I don't want to sit through each girl. She's not going to be there, and even if she is, I won't recognize her. She was wearing a mask and it was dark. Okay, Stevie says in a horrible superior voice. Calm down. You don't have to do it. I feel a wave of relief as I sink into the back of the sofa. Thank you. Till choose for you, Stevie. Jane is free tonight. I'll ask her to meet us at Simmons at 9 and see if Jason is free. This is going to be fun. I slug my beer. Instinctively feel it won't be. 2 hours later, and I'm sat in a bar opposite Stevie, who has almost finished his second Heineken, and we only arrived 20 minutes ago. Simmons is small and dark, with high tables and loud bartenders, shaking cocktails over their shoulders and slamming shots down on the sticky bar. The room is cast in blue light, and the walls are covered in different posters. Is this what life is normally like for you in London, then? I ask. Stevie looks up from his phone. He's been watching Formula One highlights since we arrived. What do you mean? Many dates have you brought here? I pick up my beer and gesture to our surroundings. Howie puts his phone down, raising his eyebrows. Are you judging me, Isla? No, if anything, I'm jealous. So you can be honest with me. How much are you hoping that tonight is this Batgirl that you keep talking about? I do not keep talking about her, I mutter into my pint. You do in your sleep. Shut up, our walls are thin, you're telling me. I guffaw and Stevie gives me a wicked grin. I take a swig of beer. It isn't her. I'd recognize her from the pictures. Stevie huffs at me. Wasn't she wearing a mask? Yes, but anyway, he waves his hand at me, so what if it isn't her? Jane might be really nice. I'm sure she will be. Stevie rolls his eyes at me. God, you're impossible. Oh, there's Jason. I peer round and spot a burly, long-haired man in a t-shirt, looking around the bar. Stevie walks over, leaving me with my beer. I pick up my phone and check my messages. Jane and I. She 11 texts me when she arrives. With any luck, she may have been messaging to arrange meeting here. So, I'm hoping, pleasantly surprised by how I look in real life versus that terrible photo of me that Brian took in the office. If she arrives, at all that is, or she arrives, sees me, and then leaves. God, what am I even doing here? Why did I let Stevie talk me into this? Why? Nate, I look up from my phone and spot Jane. I recognize her immediately from her photo. She has bright eyes, curly hair, and a big, toothy smile. She looks lovely, but she's not bad. Girl, hey, I say, getting to my feet. Jane, do you thug her, or is that weird? Shake her hand, wave, no, hug. I should hug. It would be rude not to hug, just hug her for God's sake. She nods, the opportunity for me to hug her naturally sailing past us. I'm glad Stevie wasn't here to witness that. Would you like a drink? I ask, moving towards the bar. Jane nods and follows. Appreciate you coming, I say. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Meeting like this. I feel a light spasm of alarm as the thought dawns on me. Why is she here when the advert clearly said I was looking for someone, and she knows it's not her? I flag down the bartender and order a beer, and then let Jane order herself a glass of white wine. Maybe she met someone at the party like I did, but we were too drunk to remember, so I turned to her. Did you enjoy the party? What party? Masquerade ball. Keep the smile on my face. The Halloween party. She frowns, taking her glass of wine from the bartender. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, my friend said you put an ad online saying you wanted to go on a date. She applied for me. I say right. I thought it would be fun. She smiles at me. A different way to meet someone, you know? Sure, I nod, taking a sip of my beer. Come on, Nate. You're on a date with a cute girl. You knew it wouldn't be Batgirl. It's impossible you'll ever see her again. Just let it go. The next day I wake up with a new sense of purpose. Jane had a nice enough time, but we left after an hour or so of polite small talk and a brief hug, and I was back at the flat by 11. Stevie disappeared with Jason, and I didn't hear him come in until the early hours of this morning. But when I wake up in my box room with a fresh, clear Sunday stretching out in front of me, I know that I can finally do what I came to London to do. Today is the day I'm going to go and find my Aunt Tell, speak to her about Mom, and convince her to come back to New York to visit. I get up, take a shower, and start to plan my journey down 10 Epping. The sky is a bright powder blue, and the sun is mazing out from behind the clouds, but there's a crisp chill in the air. I wrap a scarf around my neck and step out of the front door. My mom is a New Yorker through and through. She grew up outside of Manhattan with just her mom and sister in a small apartment above a store. She met my dad waiting tables at a restaurant downtown, and they never looked back. Aunt Tell's early adult years were spent moving to London to follow her dream of becoming an actress. She came here when she was 25 and has been performing in theaters ever since. I used to joke with Stevie that he must take after Aunt Tell and I must take after Mom, but he didn't like that. I take a train to Epping and emerge from the station onto a suburban street. Taking in a lungful of icy air, I begin my walk to Aunt Tell's house, my phone shouting directions at me every 30 seconds or so. If all goes to plan, I should be able to go back to New York by the end of the month. I'm trying not to think too much about why Aunt Tell has been ignoring my messages and calls for the past 6 weeks or so. I've sort of put it down to some whimsical idea of all of my emails getting lost in cyberspace, or I somehow have her wrong number, even though I totally don't. We'll both just pretend it never happened. Turn right, pipes up my phone. Then in 400 yards, the destination is on your left. I look up from my phone, feeling my eyebrows raise as I take in the row of grand houses all sat next to each other like perfect dollhouses. Believe Aunt Tell lives in a house like this. In short, they are all enormous. I count the numbers on the houses and stop walking as T reached number 30. It's not quite as big as the house next door, but with its smooth white plaster and crisp black window frames, it's pretty much the smartest, and still way too big for just one person. I walk up the drive, noticing her shiny car, and then raise my hand to the ruby-red door. A Christmas wreath is looped around the door knocker, far too early in my opinion, with little fairy lights twinkling around it. I hold my breath as the knock reverberates through the door. I haven't seen Aunt Tell in years. She might not even recognize me. I know Mama said that she sends pictures, but I've got no idea what pictures or from how long ago. The door swings open and my eyes widen as they land on Aunt Tell. She is a small woman with honey blonde hair curled above her head in a large quiff. Her eyes are shadowed with dark makeup and her thin lips are coated in a shimmering pale pink. She's wearing a floral dress and an eccentric scarf. As soon as she sees me, her mouth falls open like she's seen a ghost, and before I have time to recite the lines I had rehearsed on my way over, I'm pulled into a hug. "Oh, Nathaniel," she cries, clasping my head and rocking me from side to side. "It is so good to see you." I shuffle slightly in my seat, waiting for Aunt Tell to reappear with the coffee. I'm perched in a large armchair which has a golden trim and is upholstered with a rich purple velvet ring on. But she insisted. Jock's like a chair that's there for decoration rather than sit after what felt like hours. Aunt Tell finally let me go and bustled straight into her house, commanding me to follow. Her hallway had black and white squared tiles, a glittering chandelier, and a sweeping wooden staircase. On the walls were photos of her, looking furious or gobsmacked, mid-scene in various acting roles. The odd picture had her clutching a bouquet of flowers, one hand to her heart, beaming at an adoring audience. I noticed there weren't any pictures of us anywhere. Aunt Tell has never been married or had any children. We are the only family she has, and it's like we don't exist, which makes sense considering she's been ignoring me for the past 6 weeks. But she seemed so happy to see me. She hardly greeted me like someone she was trying to avoid. "Here we are," she coos, placing 2 china mugs down on golden coasters and beaming at me. She is practically glowing. "Great," I say, "thank you. Sorry for just dropping in like this. I tried to call, but you never answered." "It's a lovely surprise," she says at once, placing her hands on her lap and staring at me. Her eyes are wide, and, unlike Stevie, her American accent is as strong as mine, even though she's lived in the UK for half of her life. I smile, taking a sip of my coffee. This is the part I ask Aunt Tell straight whether she can come back to New York. Say how Mom isn't doing so well, and that she misses her. Seeing her will do Mom the world of good for her. But when I look up at Aunt Tell's hopeful, my goodness, she sighs. I haven't seen you since you were yay high. She holds up an arm. I can't believe this handsome man sat in front of me as my little Nathaniel. Say all of your names, you know. Right before I go on stage each night, I bless each of you. I pause, unsure of what to say at the theater. She continues, reading my silence. When I have a show, before I go on, I say, God bless Linda, Paul, Nathaniel, and Stevie. God bless them all. Oh, I say, realizing that I couldn't stay silent a second time. That's nice. It helps keep me calm, thinking of all of your faces. She smiles, picking up her coffee cup. I've got a show tonight. You should come. She leans forward excitedly. Oh, I say. I can't stay. Sorry, I'm playing Beth and Paula's race car at the Pheasant, she says, as if I haven't spoken at all. It's the other side of town, and it's terrific fun. We're halfway through a 6-month run. Congratulations, I say. I was actually hoping to speak to you about Mom. I look at her steadily, ready to catch a retain, but her beaming expression stays put. I was wondering if you had plans to visit her anytime soon. Visit her, she blinks her heavy eyelashes. Back in New. Yeah, I sip my coffee. I know she'd love to see you, her chest. My darling sister, and I'd love to see her, she cries, her hand flinging to eye-watcher, my mind scrambling to work out what she means. Great, I say after a pause. Well, I'm planning to go back to New York soon. I'm only here for a few months, so can I tell Mom that you'll be in touch to arrange a visit soon? I try and keep my eye contact with her, but she looks away and starts busying herself with the empty coffee mugs. Of course. Now, I'm sorry, Nathaniel, but I must ask you to go. I need to get ready for my show. But this was such a wonderful surprise. Please come and visit me again soon. And before I know it, I'm showed out of the front door back onto the streets of Epping. But you'll call Mom? I blurt, moments before she shuts the door. Of course I will, darling. See you soon. And as the door slams, I'm left with 3 thoughts. 1. She must be the weirdest woman I've ever met. 2. You need to apologize to Stevie for comparing him to her. 3. She's lying.